rounds thus far. Ben Snell taking out the win last week at Watkins Glen with a dominant performance. Who's going to take out the win this week? We've got to get this one underway. So let's get it started on your Monday night FGM E-Cast. Let's get into it. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to FGM E-Cast. Starting another week, starting your Monday off right, really, with the ANZCAR Truck Series. And tonight we are coming to you from Gateway, a track that I have not used before, of course. Joined by Carl Withy. Good evening, Carl.
Good evening, Stuart, and good evening, everybody out there. Yes, welcome to Gateway. We are here in Illinois, a fantastic little speedway. I can't remember the original name for it back in the day, but Gateway, a really interesting little circuit. It's very tight at the top and loose at the bottom. It's got a very tight first set of corners. Turns 1 and 2 are very tight, and then it gets very much wider down the bottom towards turns 3 and 4. Really interesting little track, and a tricky one that can catch you out quite quickly. Known otherwise, I believe, as Worldwide Raceway. Is that right? Have I got that right? You have, yes, indeed. I'm trying to think of the actual name from way back in the day. This was back in the early noughties area, and it will come to me eventually, I'm pretty sure. But yes, it's a fantastic little place, and it's just such a different track. It really does catch you out, and it will be interesting. It's quite a flat circuit as well, which does make for a little bit of a tricky way through the corners, but as you can see on screen right now, you can get 3-4 wide racing here without too much issue. Yeah, I must admit I haven't done a lot of running at the circuit version of this. It's another dual purpose track in the States. So from that, you say the history of this one built in the noughties? Gateway was built back in the 80s, I think, from memory, but it was the oval course was very much used back in the 90s, late 90s, and it was one of the hosts of the ANZCAR series. The ANZCAR series used to run there on Memorial Day weekend, I think, so it was the big race to effectively counter the Indy 500 for ANZCAR. So it was a very big race back in the day for ANZCAR. And yeah, it was a bit of a staple on the ANZCAR series, this one. So obviously why we're here tonight is Memorial Day in the US, just coming to a conclusion last night with the Indy 500 running as well. So timely here, and not by any accident, I imagine at all, that we're here in the trucks, but at this track tonight for, where are we now? Round 4 already of Season 2 ANZCAR Truck Series. Well, I might just use this opportunity to have a quick look at the point standings, if you've got them there, Cal. Sorry to put you on the spot. No, that's okay. So I will just quickly click the right button and get the right screen up, because I had the wrong one up just then. So the series standings after 3 rounds, we have Edward Foster at the top of the championship in joint first place with Daniel Heddershede, who's had a fantastic debut season in the trucks. In third place we have Nathan Clark. He is 2 points behind the leaders. Fourth place is Hamish Cleland, 12 points off the leaders. Fifth is James Robbie, 16 points off the leaders. Sixth, we have Jason Martin, 22 points off the leaders. Maddie Raymond in seventh, 29 off the leaders. Eighth is Josh Micklemore, 29. Christopher Fenley is in ninth place, 34 off the leaders. And Mickey Skurlock himself is in 10th, 39 points off the leaders. But it is very tight between everybody at the moment. It is anybody's season to win for sure, but consistency is going to be a major factor. As we have seen, Foster up there leading the championship, no wins so far, but consistency has been key for him. Daniel Hedersheed having some good results as well, with 3 top 5 finishes this season.
Yeah, and of course Andrew Dyson being extremely fast as well when he does choose to run in the trucks. I notice just in practice times here, Luke Trahair up into 4th, runner-up in Season 1, and Steve Williams, who did exactly that, the model of consistency in Season 1. I think only winning 1 race throughout that entire season, but walking away with the championship just for always being well and truly inside that top 10. So quite wide open tonight. Ed Foster is running tonight as well, and Daniel Hedersheed is here. So this one's going to be an interesting race from the point of view that it's a completely different track to anything we've run in Season 1 and also so far in Season 2. So it's a lot of the new guys, because we do have a number of new drivers in the championship, or returning drivers who we haven't seen for a while. This one's going to be a little bit of a baptism of fire, I think.
Yeah, very much so. We've got some really quick drivers out there. As I say, we're sort of back onto a shorter oval, sort of a short track oval in some respects here. It's still 2 kilometres long, but that is a shorter track in what we've been looking at in some respects. The thing is here is you're going to have to be braking, you're going to have to be turning the car in, and because it does have 2 very different corners, it is very easy to get thrown off your game here.
Yeah, well, we'll get you to talk us through, as always, a lap of the track, and we'll get an in-car view for that one so we can see what you're talking about. There is the 85, I think that might have been of Nathan Rawlock. Yes, it was indeed. It's on the screen there, Stu, if you're really struggling to find out who it was. I was busy looking at the timing screens trying to see the drivers, but Nathan Rawlock there just getting taken out by Justin Howe as well. So only practice, so no harm, no foul, but probably a little bit of a precursor to some of the stuff we'll see tonight.
Yeah, look, hopefully we'll see a pretty clean race. The tricky thing is, you know, on these short tracks, it's very easy to have a mistake, and it's not as forgiving sometimes because it's not a very wide track as well, as we'll see a little bit later on. But you just got to be a little bit cautious on a track like this. Just get your nose in there, just get started and just get settled as well. And a lot of these drivers just going to have to get into that mindset as well, just getting settled in. You know, it's a good time. Practice is the time where you push the car, as we see James Robbie just absolutely losing the rear end there. It's a good time to push the car and get an idea of where your boundaries are set. This is what you want to use practice for, is just getting an idea how much you can push the car, where it's going to snap and where you're going to crash, basically, and then take that into the race and hopefully learn from it and not use that knowledge to have an accident.
Yeah, and just to obviously set the room as well, this is a fixed series if you are joining us for the first time on ANZCAR Truck. So all the drivers running with the same setup here, of course different makes, but they are essentially the same. So everyone here able to do what they can, unlimited tyre sets as well. So the drivers there able to take full advantage of any caution periods we might have. But certainly, as Carl's saying, practice here, the time to give it all you can, as we see a big pile up down in the back there. That's the 45 of Gary Wellman, and I think that might have been one of the Crank Esports cars. Not quite sure, I didn't see there, but the guys certainly pushing the limits at the moment. Yeah,
that's it. And it's also, even though it is a fixed setup race, you can change a couple of things in these cars. You can change the steering ratio. That's a big one that people will play around with, because a different steering ratio is going to mean a difference to how you wear your tyres effectively. You know, the more open you have your steering, the less tyre wear you're going to have, but the less bite you're going to have in the car. So some people like it to be quite tight and quite grippy and easy to sort of use. Some people like it to be a bit more open. And the big one is, of course, brake balance, because the brake balance is changeable in the car, and you're going to be working out how much front brake bias you want, how much rear brake bias you want, and that's the big thing to work out in this sort of session, because if you can get it working out there, it's almost managed to get that round perfectly with a little bit of the drifting action, but getting that brake balance perfect, getting the brake bias perfect, sorry, is what you need to do, and you sort of got to work out if you want it a bit further forwards, a little bit more on the back, and that changes the way the car turns in, the way the car goes out, the way it drives in general, and of course the way it eats its tyres as well.
I was going to finish off by saying the way that it wiggles all about, but it certainly does. There's a couple of those manual things that the drivers will be able to manipulate throughout the race, with the exception obviously of that steering ratio, but brake bias certainly, and one of the few tracks where it actually will matter. Not often we go to a circuit where there is much braking involved.
Oh, that's it, and that's the glory of the sort of more shorter track series and short tracks in general, is you do get that little bit more braking involved, that little bit more, there's a bit more involved in driving the car than just flat out super speedways. But even a flat out super speedway requires a very different style of driving. It's not just putting your foot down and just driving and turning left for a couple of hours. There's so much more involved in that as well. But the short tracks, you need to get that braking point right. You need to know how much braking you need, and most importantly, you need to know where to lift off and put your foot back on the exit, because the biggest problem you're going to have with these cars is those rear tyres getting a bit warm, and then all of a sudden that back end just wanting to pendulum around on you and start overtaking you, and that's where you'll see a lot of the guys getting that little bit of a drift on, is because those rear tyres have started getting a little bit hot. All of a sudden the back end steps out. If you put your foot down too quickly, then all of a sudden the back end of that car is going to spin around in front of you, and you're going to have a massive crash like Ryan Jones there.
Indeed, so it's got about a minute to wind down here until we get into qualifying. Qualifying here is a solo car affair, as you would expect, and typical tradition here is for us to jump on board with the person first out of the gate, so we'll just wait and see who that may be. In the meantime, AJ Insurance Services are our partner here on FGM eCast, and we thank them very much for supporting the stream, particularly when it comes to the ANZCAR event. So if you are in the market for some insurance for a business or for your personal insurance, give AJ Insurance Services a call or jump on their Facebook page and send Joe and the team a message, whether it be business insurance, commercial, you know, that sort of thing. They certainly do business properties and all the sort of commercial insurance that you may require for your business. They are the ones that we would encourage you to call and support the people that support the stream and the hobby. So AJ Insurance Services, find them on Facebook and shoot Joe and his team a message.
Always a useful thing, insurance. It's never useful until you need it, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I should say. It's always a useful thing to have in your back pocket, though, and hopefully you don't have to use it. That's the big thing, but it's always handy having it there if you do need it. So qualifying is starting here at Gateway, where we will be jumping on. Let's find out who's going to come out first. It's going to be Justin Howe.
Justin Howe. There we go. So Howie out first. So he gets the privilege tonight of being our taxi, our Uber, shall we say, for the lap around the track. And we'll just wait for him to get that thing wound up before we jump on board. It is 2 laps here. And they've got to be clean ones. If you bump the wall or anything, otherwise they will not count.
Very much so, and this outlap's important. It's usually going to be the second lap that's going to be your fast one, but here we go for the first lap here for round 4 of the truck series. So down this straight, very tight front straight here. If you make a mistake here, very easy to get caught up into first corner. As I say, very tight, very narrow. Get the front end turned in, get the brakes perfectly there. You're going to ease off the accelerator, put it back on around about here, mid-corner. Get on the power, make sure not to hit the wall. You want to get nice and close there, just so you can get the speed out of it. You also get that little buffer off the wall. Back straight into that faster corner on the back here. It's much more open, this corner, so you can take a little bit of speed into it. You're going to drop down to a 3rd gear, get the car in there, get it nice and settled for the exit, put the foot down for the front straight, get up into 4th gear, and across the line we go for 1 lap of the Gateway Motorsport Park.
And first out of the gate there, Philip Howe jumps to the top, but Edward Foster immediately improves on that. 34.49 as the fastest so far. But Howie's lap's standing up pretty well at the moment. He's equal, well, it's not equal second, he's in 3rd provisionally, but a lap 100 thousandths away from Andrew Dyson. So we'll stick on board here with, however, this just different, slightly different perspective. Behind the wheel there, you can see the gear changes being done there as he comes around. He's going to complete his second lap. Doesn't look like it's going to be as quick as the first one, no, 35.6. So his first lap, his fastest lap. Looks like the same, might be the same story there for Ed Foster as well. So guys getting a good solid first lap, maybe just slightly losing a little on the second one around. We've got a few guys still to go yet in terms of some of our faster runners. It's not to discredit any of the guys that have done so far, but a few of the names we used to see at the top still sitting in pit lane, so we'll keep an eye out there as Daniel Hedersheed's one of those who just jumps up into second place. Josh Mickelmore provisionally second. Ed Foster still on pole by 1/100th at the moment.
Yeah, one thing I've just failed to notice actually was the heat at the moment. The track temperature is 52 degrees Celsius. That's going to boil those tyres on that first lap. So they are going to be absolutely molten come the second lap. So they're not going to be much use to you at all. That first lap is crucial here with that heat in the track. It's going to make it interesting for the race as well, because those tyres are not going to enjoy this temperature of this lovely track surface.
Makes you wonder if anyone will get the benefit of any shade if they manage to time their run right.
Yeah, the good old qualifying cloud, if that comes across for you, you could be in for some serious luck. And what we mean by that, of course, is sometimes you get a cloud coming across the track, which I think we've actually got a little bit of cloud cover just coming in at the moment. And what that does is just gives it a little bit more shade and just cools the track temperature down by a couple of degrees and just gives you that opportunity to get a little bit more speed through the track. It's not much, but every little counts in motorsport. You know, as we're looking at the times at the top, there is nothing between them.
I think Luke Dreher's running a slightly different strategy here. This is a very, very slow first lap.
We have seen this in the past. Of course, we've seen it more on the street tracks, but it is an interesting one for Luke Dreher here. He's going to try for just easing it out, nursing it on that outlap, and then going for a very fast sort of a second lap. It will either pay off for him or it won't. I know that seems like a very silly thing to say, but it's one of those sort of trial and error things, and sometimes you just find out, yeah, this really works. Got a feeling it's going to pay out quite well for him.
Well, he's done a 37.8 first time around. I just heard it in the car there. I was just listening to it while you were explaining the benefit of the cloud cover. And yeah, just did a 37.8. It's quite a slow lap, particularly given where he was sitting during practice. And his second lap out there, 34.8, jumps him up to 16th. Steve Williams, in the meantime, jumps up to 8th. Dave Douglas in 9th. Michael Skurlock's put in a lap that's jumped him into 4th. And Jason Martin jumps up to the front. Of course, Jason Martin from Mitch Motorsport, one of our recent race winners in the Cup Series. So he is certainly capable here too.
Yeah, very much so. So just looking at that lap, so not a terrible lap at all from Luke, but it's so tight there at the top. He was about 0.3 of a second off, and that's the difference between first and 15th for 16th at the moment. It is a ridiculously close field out there. So this is going to be one of those very tight races as we start to grid up now. So let's go through that starting grid as they start to appear. So on the front row is Edward Foster in an Atari Autosport team. Daniel Hedersheed, again having another brilliant qualifying session, comes in second. Jason Martin is third, with Michael Skurlock fourth. On the third row, we have Josh Mickelmore and Andrew Dyson. Fourth row is Justin House, Stephen Williams. Fifth is Dave Douglas and Ryan Jones. Sixth row, we have Lachlan Occhio and Jaden Russell. Seventh is Justin Witcher with Alex John. Eighth, we have Troy Davidson, Luke Dreher. Ninth row is Hamish Cleland and Dwayne Priest. 10th is Norman Clark, Brent Hobbs. 11th, James Robbie, Clyde Donnelly. 12th row, Christopher Finley, Nathan Clark. 13th is Aidan Schultz and Aaron Dillon. Gary Wellman and Ryan Wooden are on the 14th row. 15th is Ben Vickers, Tristan Koch. 16th we have Alex McCullough, Aaron Wilton. 17th, Nobby Tompkins, and Nigel Patton. 18th row is Ruben Phelps with Maddie Raymond. Drives that didn't set time. Michael Schroeder, Nathan Rollock, and Mick Taylor at the back at the moment.
The 39 cars or trucks as well to compound the size of the track here. So this is going to be a really, really tight affair. Guys are going to have to be patient because no one ever wins a race on the first corner. That is for certain. We've got 115 laps here, and where, I don't know, Ed Foster will be wrapped to be on the front row again in the Natari Autosports entry. He's got plenty of good company around him, which is also a benefit as much as it is a threat, because you know, the guys around you are going to race well and understand how these trucks are going to perform around this tight circuit. So qualifying here, it's always important, but probably a little more so than when we're on the bigger tracks. So I don't really know what to think of tonight, other than the fact that Steve Williams will finish inside the top 10. I'm not really sure what else to say about where we're going to finish up tonight. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, look, traffic management's going to be key here tonight. It's going to be very important. Big thank you as well, just out there to Locked On Lads with their podcast, Locked On iRacing. They made me more aware of Daniel Hedersheed, who does a lot of road racing, things like that, and he's one of the migrants that's come over from one of the other series, finding us out about us on there. So big thank you for all the lovely chat we get over on that lovely podcast. Not sponsored by them, but we do thank them very much for keeping us entertained. But it's going to be a thing of track management tonight and traffic management. That's going to be key, of course. If you're new to oval racing, blue flags don't mean a damn. You have to race to pass people, even on a lapped car. So you're going to find a lot of people not wanting to give up position here, because it's going to be crucial to stay on that lead lap. So Foster's going to have a hard time. He's got Daniel Hedersheed right beside him, who's going to want to take advantage of that. But Foster's going to lead away when the pace truck pulls in here. And we will be going green very shortly for this round of the ANZCAR Truck Series. When's Foster going to drop the loud pedal? He does it now, and we are green for Gateway here on FGM eCast.
Great start there from Foster with Daniel Hedersheed right behind him. Jason Martin goes down the inside line. Skurlock finding some grip on the outside with Andrew Dyson and Josh Mickelmore right behind them, followed by Justin Howe and Stephen Williams. Ryan Jones in there as well, with good start from Jaden Russell. He's up 2 positions already inside the top 10. So we've got a very, very clean start there as Foster checks out a little bit at the front, but Daniel Hedersheed just closes the gap ever so slightly. Martin doing well down on the inside as the guys start to sort themselves out and get into that single line. Dyson there just got Josh Mickelmore down the inside of him. Of course, Josh Mickelmore no slouch at all in anything with 4 wheels, so he's doing a good job up the inside there. As Hedersheed just gets a little wiggle on there as he was just getting down into the braking zone. And we've had a good clean start here from everyone at round 4 of the ANZCAR Truck Series.
We have a little bit further down the pack, you can see from this wide angle, they are 2 to 3 wide at the moment. A little bit further down there are trucks all over the place as you go down towards the past P10. They're currently running 2 to 3 wide across the back end of the corner. It is absolutely brilliant driving out there. It's nice to see the green flag laps as well. Don't want to jinx it too soon, of course, but a lot of good driving out there at the moment. It's just keeping it that way, and that's the tricky part. As this goes on, those tyres are going to start heating up. You don't want to push too hard. You want to just get settled into a rhythm and don't want to crash out too early.
Absolutely, as you can just see here, Jaden Russell putting the screws on Dave Douglas in the 199 entry. Steve Williams right behind him as well. Steve dropped a couple of spots at the start there, unusual to see from him, but he had a good qualifying run, so he'll be quite happy with his progress so far. You know that it's 115 laps long, and there's plenty of time to go here as we see a Mitch Motorsport move with Mickelmore just stuck in the middle there between Dyson and Howe. Jason Martin trying to find his way up into that top line. He does so now just in front of Ryan Jones, so Jones will put the screws on him as well, as Mickelmore's looking for a way past here. It looks like Dyson just struggling a little bit with the rear end in the DPR truck at the moment. So Mickelmore just gets out there just to have a little cheeky look. We've got 3 wide in front as well in the lead here as Hedersheed tries to get under Foster, and it's putting the pressure on really well here. Nice clean driving, and Michael Skurlock sniffing around in the background there, if you don't mind, looking to see if he can take the pork sandwich home this early on in the event. But Hedersheed, so there's a slide there. I don't think there was contact. There was a bit of contact, but how Foster saved that. That was a safe job and a half there. Foster just
Foster just coming in and Heddership just catching the back of Foster. Rotating that car a little bit, but that was one heck of a save. I was just going to talk about Jason Martin, who's dropping down the field a little bit. He just made contact with the wall. Uncharacteristic mistake from Jason Martin. He hit the wall, but that was probably the save of the night from Foster.
Yeah, let's roll back. I'll just duck back through here and see if I can find that event again. Have a quick look at it.
Try and find that one, but this has given Michael Scullock the opportunity to get in the lead of this race. He's managed to jump up ahead of Heddershide and Foster at the moment, and take it to P1 in the 350, the Crank Esports car, and Skirley doing a fantastic job at the moment, as is usually expected of Skirley Whirly, getting up there in the lead of a race.
We just haven't quite got it there, unfortunately, because it didn't trigger the right event, so we only got it after the guys drove past. But a fantastic save there from Edward Foster. We'll try and pull that out of the coverage and put that up on our social media during the balance of the week, as Justin Howe got past Andrew Dyson there in the background. He's now putting pressure on Edward Foster with the 31 of Josh Micklemore and the 111 of Ryan Jones as well there. We've got Jaden Russell, Dave Douglas and Steve Williams rounding out your top 10 at lap 8.
A clean 8 laps so far, which is great to see with this many trucks out there. 39 competitors on this very tight 2-kilometre long racetrack here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway Gateway in Illinois. Fantastic driving so far, you've got to say, and just some really good solid efforts out there. Some very clean racing we're seeing as well. Most people are starting to fall into a single line now, as the tyres are starting to get a little bit worn, as the cars are starting to get a little bit loose. So you're going to watch people just not going as wide and crazy now at this stage of the race. They're going to start forming up into their little line of cars, as somebody there just making a liar out of me a little bit further down the path.
Just James Robbie there, just having a crack. He's got the SimRush sponsorship on that one. One of our Kiwi drivers joining us from across the ditch. The SimRush boys down there in Auckland, I believe, do a fantastic job if you are on that side of the water, as he's just getting real tight up there on Troy Davison in the Simboys 23 entry, or 023 entry, sorry, my Circuit Racing taking over. He got real tight up on him there, but just managed to pull it through there. The 58 of Hamish Cleland involved, Aidan Schultz just right there as well, Nathan Clark. This is a good solid battle here, and this is right down in position 17 and onwards, and these guys doing a cracking job here. We'll keep an eye on this for a minute.
Yeah, watch James Robbie, because it's going to get loose out there. The back end of these trucks is really stepping out. I was just watching a little bit further back some of the Simboys cars. I saw Aaron Dillon, his rear end was just starting to really step out on him, just really, really loose out there and almost drifting the cars around. And this is the kind of thing that James Robbie loves. He is a fantastic dirt racer, and he's very good on the slippery stuff. So when a track starts getting loose, James Robbie is usually one to keep an eye out for in that Pace Syndicate car. He always does a good job on the loose stuff, and he is currently doing a great job out there.
I was just about to say, I haven't seen too much contact with the wall, and just as I say that, Troy Davison does make contact with the wall, and he'll lose the momentum and lose a shopping trolley full of positions there, but he'll get back on with it. A little bit of damage to the right-hand corner of that car, but nothing too foul. In the meantime, Justin Howe has moved up on Edward Foster. He's now into 3rd position, so it wouldn't surprise me too much here if Ed's just managing tyres as well with the heat. A lot of these guys who push hard early will struggle towards the back end of this tyre stint if we go green for the full stint. Did we get any idea on how long a stint might be tonight? I'm not sure anyone probably would have expected us to go a full stint without a caution.
I think that's your answer there, Stuart. It was not expected to go green for long periods. Like generally around a track like this, your tyres are going to start dropping off around about 10-15 laps. They're going to just completely fall into very chewed up bubblegum territory. Usually fuel tanks on these trucks will last about half distance, so they're probably going to try and get the trucks to around about lap 40, lap 50 or so if they can. But the tyres are going to start looking very second hand, so expect to see a few people possibly possibly rolling the dice with some green flag stops, just trying to take advantage of some fresh tyres, because you gain a huge advantage. The undercut is very powerful on a track like this, as long as it stays green.
You see here a switch up. James Robbie's gone to the outside of the track now. Aidan Schultz down on the inside. Dylan getting real loose behind him as well. He nearly made contact with the wall before. In fact, he might have even just given it a little brush on the way through. As this battle continues down, as I said, in position sort of 18, 19 and onwards. Schultz doing a good job managing the Crank Esports 52 entry in that outside lane. Sort of dug down to the middle lane during the corner, but he's pushed right back outside there, and it will allow Nathan Clark to move through in the number 6 entry. It's got the Worm Paints sponsorship on the back of that one, so shout out to them for jumping on board with him.
Yeah, Riley Curtis, sort of parroting our thoughts there of a clean race so far in this, so far for these past 16 laps. Edward Foster just getting passed by Josh Micklemore now up the front. Micklemore and Foster are side by side at the moment through turn 1, but Micklemore is going to have the drive out the corner. He's going to have that inside line as well, so it's going to be tricky for Foster to keep this position. I think he's probably just going to ease it off as they get to the corner and then just roll in behind Micklemore, not put up too much fight, because it's going to cost him a little bit of extra time there. But yeah, it's surprised it has gone green for so long, because usually we'd expect for the field this long, and not slating anybody's driving techniques, but usually you'd expect to see a couple of cautions out. We almost saw it with Foster and Heddersheed with that fantastic save earlier on in the evening. But that's the kind of thing that happens on a track like this. It's so easy to make a mistake and for things to go wrong as you're racing this close to each other, as we see down with Aidan Schultz right now, as he is side by side with Aaron Dillon and Dwayne Priest. Dwayne Priest and Aaron Dillon just getting so close to each other, but it's such close racing that these guys are putting on that it's just millimetres away from having an accident.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm amazed by the quality of the driving tonight, particularly given 52-degree track temp. Most of these guys would never have run on a track at this higher temperature. I think the only time I ever have is at Mount Panorama during the middle of the day in summer, but it's quite unusual, so particularly in the trucks as well. So great job from everyone so far, particularly, as you say, with the amount of door-to-door running we've had right throughout the field. Jump back here to Ben Vickers and Ruben Phelps. They're both fighting away as well. Just been watching their times and basically dipping between 2/10 and nothing lap after lap, and they've kept it clean as well. We've got a good solid battle between Trahere, John and Martin, which we'll jump up to in a moment, as well as Jones and Douglas, as there is a change for the lead, or almost. Just keeping an eye there as well. I've got about 19 different eyes on the screen at the moment, in case you didn't count them all. But we're just trying to keep up with this many cars on such a short track. It's almost impossible to understand all of the battles that are going on.
It's so hard, so easy to lose focus, so easy to lose a battle. It's pretty hot out there, and you know that's the thing about American racing. You see the American vehicles, similar to the Australian cars, of course. They've got the slight air conditioning systems in the helmets, because you do need it, because it can get very, very hot out there. But yeah, track temperature of 50 degrees Celsius is just 54 degrees Celsius is not fun. You can basically crack an egg on that and make yourself a sandwich.
Absolutely, you can. It doesn't help as well that some of the guys, I think, are just dropping in and out a little bit, so they're falling back down through the timing screen and then just popping back up in the top there. So again, it just showed me that Skurlock and Heddersheed here were exchanging places for the lead. Not quite so. Justin Howe, however, is moving up on this battle, with Heddersheed closing in on Skurlock. Just running very, very similar lap times at the moment, but Howe managing to close the gap.
Yeah, they've managed to pull out a good 2-second lead over Josh Micklemore in 4th position, and 3 seconds over Foster, the sort of front three at the moment. They're pulling out a bit of a gap, but you've got to wonder how much that's eating into tyre wear. You can see there's some nice gaps forming between Micklemore, Foster, Jaden Russell as well running up there. Another good outing for Jaden Russell, one of the newest drivers to the series. and experienced hand, but not so much to ANZCAR. But they've got a nice little gap out there, which is going to help with the temperature on the truck, as well as some of the tyre wear. Of course, when you're in dirty air, it does affect you a little bit. A little bit further down. Oh, James Robbie has almost lost it. Oh, has he lost it? Yes, he has. He's gone up, and we are going to get a caution here for sure.
Yeah, he almost held on to it there. Just got caught. Unable to grab hold of it. He did a great job trying to keep hold of it, but just not quite able to. I'll jump back and have a look at that one.
Yeah, unfortunately, it got caught up with Nathan Clark. Nathan Clark getting caught in that one. So he's gone into the first corner here. And as I said, it's very tight in turn one. It does catch you out quite quickly. And the drivers are going to be breathing a sigh of relief. The back end has stepped out on him. He's tried to drift it round. He's got too many cars around him to actually completely get it there. So he's sort of tried to correct. He's overcorrected it. Couldn't get the car quite stabilised. And then all of a sudden, he's got gripped from everywhere on that on that low line. All the grips come into the rear, and that's slung him around up into Nathan Clark, unfortunately.
Yeah, he did such a good job there. He almost held on to it and just had the old tank slapper, and that's cost him and unfortunately sent him up into the top there into Nathan Clark. So the innocent bystander in it, which unfortunately sometimes you are.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when that kind of thing happens because it's so easy. With that one, he sort of got down on that low line and all of a sudden just found all the grip in the universe. There was no grip anywhere on that track. And then all of a sudden, grip for days. And yeah, that was really unlucky, especially for the number 6 Nathan Clark. He was just in the wrong spot at the wrong time, unfortunately. But one of the things on a track like this is short tracks, you're not going to get too much time loss from a little bit of damage. So you can sometimes get away with it a little bit. And it's not always the end of your night. It's not like a super speedway where this would be a game over for you.
I was just looking there, so pretty much everyone has jumped in through pit lane as we would expect. And Justin Witcher and Dave Douglas, the only ones not to. And that will definitely change almost immediately, I would suggest. They will come in this lap around the pit lane. There would have been very, very congested. And they may have just been wanting to lead a lap, but also probably avoid some of that congestion, I would think.
That's the big thing, of course, is you're going to get an easier pit entry. You're also going to have a cleaner pit entry as well. You're going to lose a bit of time doing it this way, but on a track like this, it's not a terrible idea sometimes. It's going to drop you towards the back of the line a bit, but you're going to have a much cleaner pit entry and pit exit. You're not going to have to fight your way through, and it just makes it a little bit less carnage, which is sometimes nice. But just got to say, 22 laps there of green flag running on 54-degree track temperature at Gateway. Outstanding, especially with a 39 truck field. That is something special. That's something you don't see very often, and that's one of the reasons that we love ANZCAR, because you get so much respect from these guys and such good, clean racing throughout the field. And it just shows there very early doors, nobody taking too many risks.
Yeah, and just good solid. As we just again had a little bit of a drop out there, so apologies for that. It's not actually us, it's the car we're on who falls in and out, so it puts us back on a scenic view. So a few guys with some internet connection issues out there tonight, but nothing too savage that we can't deal with. It looks like Butcher and Douglas are going to stay out. So this is a very interesting strategy. They're going to get eaten alive by Michael Skurlock and Daniel Heddersheet as they come through on fresh tyres with these track temperatures. Dave Douglas, no shadow on Justin. I'm just not as much familiar with his driving yet as I am with Dave's. If Dave's doing it, there must be a reason why.
Well, track position can be useful. I mean, we've seen that as tyres drop off, it's not as easy to overtake. I think what they're banking on is a early caution. What they've got to do, however, is get a clean start. The fact that two of them are on on old tyres here, that the two front cars are on old worn tyres. The former number 10 of Dave Douglas and the number 10 of Justin Witcher. Them two just getting close to each other and just saying hello to each other there. Dave, of course, missing his number 10 dearly. Ran that number for a long time in the series. A moment of
bit tear in his eye on the restart.
Yeah. That's it. But the fact that those both have old tyres on, it's going to help a little bit. But they've just got to not spin him up too much on this restart. They've got to ease it off. Justin Witcher just has to go down nice and gently, not lose the back end, and that's what he does. Gets away nice and clean there. Doesn't get too much wheel spin. That's really important for Justin Witcher, of course, and he has the prerogative on the start. Dave Douglas is going to have Skurlock down the inside of him. 3 wide into the first corner. Header sheet on the outside. Oh, Justin Howe gets ping-ponged in the middle of the field. Manages to keep it pointing the straight way, the right way, after getting basically knocked back into the right direction for himself. But Dave Douglas has managed to get back up ahead for the moment of Skurlock and Header Shield, but now he's going to fall right behind so he gets up on that high line. Same as Witcher there. Witcher just dropping back. So Witcher just dropping back, so they are falling back relatively quickly now, and it's definitely not looking like the right call to stay out on those old tyres.
No, Skurlock and Heddersheet, they're getting it past relatively easily. Josh Mickelmore going with them, Andrew Dyson as well. Jaden Russell, we've got Justin Witcher still up there at the moment. Justin Howe with Ryan Jones, Ed Foster and Luke Trahare rounding out our top 10 after our first caution of the evening. Nigel Patton has jumped into pit lane and see the cause for that. Let's have a quick look through there and see if there was any real reason for that. But otherwise, it's back into it. And everyone who pitted certainly benefiting from it. Justin Witcher still just falling back through the pack here. Edward Foster there on the outside line with Ryan Jones as well, just making his way up through, and the 78 of Justin Howe. Oh, there's a big slide in the background there.
Gary
See who that was. Gary Wellman held it.
He did. He held it very well. That again, we are getting some good saves out there tonight. Nigel Patton, unfortunately, in the Activity Hub Barley car, not making it. Looks like some kind of technical issues forced him out of the race, as Justin Witcher just gets swallowed by about 7 cars in one corner there. Just hemorrhaging positions at the moment as they fall down the field to these cars on fresh tyres. I think they were hoping for a little bit more pace on those tyres, but it definitely has not paid off. And of course, there is no tyre limit in the trucks, so no real reason to save tyres, because it's not going to help you later on in the race. In the Cup Series, for instance, you do have a set limit of tyres. You only have a certain amount, but in the trucks it is very much take as much rubber as you want.
Just trying to see there, someone down on the inside. I didn't quite catch it. Oh yeah, he's just bumped in there as well. That I think it might be the 58 of Hamish Cleland. I think he got caught up in the grass and he just sort of slowed right down on the inside line there, and it bunched the field up prematurely, and almost having an incident there. Got real loose like he did just there again, so Cleland battling away.
Yeah, I'll tell you what happened there with Cleland. It was a little bit of help from Aaron Dillon. Aaron Dillon just caught him a little bit going into that corner, into turns 3 and 4, I think it was. Just caught the back end of that car, slid him across the grass. He managed to keep it going, which again is quite impressive, because these trucks are not easy to save sometimes, especially on the slippery stuff, and managed to keep it there. But it did make a huge check up a little bit further down the field. You can see from 14th down, there is a nice big gap now of around about 2 seconds from Luke Trahare to Aaron Dillon.
Yeah, so Trahare in some air of his own. He's just following on to teammate Aidan Schultz. Got Steve Williams under a little bit of pressure from Lachlan Equio. And 2 wide, Ryan Jones and Justin Howe as well. Howe on the middle lane there, just getting a little bit understeer. You can see that in the truck. That's helped Ryan Jones.
Just jumping up to the front, Scully has got a fast charging header sheet all over the back of them. The 035 and the 350 were side by side just a moment ago, but Scully has managed to get a little bit of clean air between himself and the the second driver of Head and Shield there, so he's managed to get out a little bit now, get a little bit of clean air on that car, but it was neck and neck for a couple of moments there. Luke Traher has made a big mistake a little bit further down the field. He just lost it coming out of turn number 4, went up into the wall and has managed to make a big dent on the front of that truck. So the clean air for Traher hasn't worked out for him this time.
No, absolutely not. Looking at that, this group here continues to form.
Another driver I want to mention that's struggling a little bit is the number 21, Jason Martin, of course. Up in 3rd place, he qualified. He's currently sitting way down in 23rd, I think.
Yeah, 22nd, 23rd. He's just down in this pack with Cade Donnelly. Got Gary Wellman there. Oh, this is a touch. And that's out into the wall for the 45, for the 40 of Cade Donnelly. Plenty of damage to that truck. He's just struggling for grip.
Yeah, contact between those two. Unfortunate. I think that might have been Gary Wellman as well caught up in that. He was up in the wall too, and a lot of damage on the front of Wellman's car. He's taken a battering tonight, unfortunately. It's been a real struggle for Jason out there. And we sort of saw he caught the wall a little bit earlier on, and it is really sort of caught him out, and he's struggling a little bit for pace. And that's not something we get to say often about Jason Martin. Usually he's right up there on the bubble.
Yeah, absolutely, and we can see there as well, just in your screen, Justin Witcher, leader at the restart. He's falling right down, he's in 22nd position. Dave Douglas in 26th. So that strategy has not played out well for those two gentlemen. Of course, the only two out there at the moment on old tyres, along with Michael Schroeder, who's actually currently sitting in 15th. So he's not doing a bad job at all, given the age of his tyres. He's up 22 spots. And just in some comfortable air by himself at the moment as well.
Yeah, look, one of the things is they do sort of plateau a little bit, and the tyres get to a point where they don't really fall off too much more, and I think that's what those guys were hoping for. People like Schroeder, Dave Douglas, and Justin Witcher, thank you. Justin Witcher, they were just hoping that the plateau would just help them keep a little bit more time in the car, but it's not really paid out too much for them. But at the moment, they're sort of setting similar pace to the guys around them. They're not losing too much time now. Of course, the guys up the front are setting a much quicker pace. They've got a little bit more clean air to play with as well. But the guys that are out there on very old tyres and just going for that little bit longer strategy, it's not losing them too much time at the moment. But of course, you're always going to want fresher tyres. As a driver, you always want the freshest tyres you can get.
Aaron Wilson there just doing a little bit of slalom practice behind just missed the number on that car, the 58 again of Hamish Clellan. Clellan involved in a fair bit so far this evening, nothing untoward, just seems to be in the battle packs often, which is good for him to be making his moves. He's actually just down one spot, but Aaron Wilson up 13, and he's still battling out with Cade Donnelly. Jason Martin trying to make some pace out of his truck, as well as the Brent Hobbs in the 064 comes up onto this pack as well. So it just continues to grow here down in the mid-pack.
Yeah, this mid-pack is absolutely chaotic at the moment. The battles are thick and fierce. A lot of different drivers in there, and a lot of drivers just really doing a great job of working the cars. At the moment, one to note is up there in P13, and that's Ruben Phelps in the 06. So he's doing a great job. 22 positions gained tonight. So he's equal highest gainer with Michael Schroeder in 15th position. So I think Ruben's just about to get Luke Traher, so he's just going to pip that to 23 positions if he can get past Traher right here. But doing a great job once again of working that car up from a rather bad qualifying position to a good race position.
There's another driver where it's characteristic. They're just nice and patient, work their way up from whatever card has been dealt to them, and himself is there. Stephen Williams still inside the top 10. He's again in some space of his own. And
we've got a relatively sort of a few relatively open spots right now, but there are still battles all the way through the pack. As I say, when you're looking up the front, it's relatively calm, and then you get down to around about P12, P13, P18 and things like that, and then it goes absolutely insane, and you go, how has this race not had like 15 cautions at the moment? Because it's thick and furious down there, as we see Foster and Ryan Jones battling it out. How many times have we said that in this past year? Foster and Jones seem to be magnetically tied to each other this year and always find each other out on track.
As we're looking out the back of Foster's truck onto the front of the Tundra of Ryan Jones, and Ed's made the move there, so he's now up into 7th, of course our pole sitter, so dropped a few spots, but time management and plenty of laps to go, I think probably the considerations there as well.
Yeah, meanwhile, up the front, we've got a battle for second place. Heddersheed and Micklemore. Micklemore has got the inside line at the moment. They get so close to each other. Just a cigarette paper between those two cars, but Heddersheed managed to hold off a fast-charging Josh Micklemore. As always, Micklemore on the hard charge, and one to watch out for. Andrew Dyson is just lurking back there, not putting up too much fight. We've got a good battle as well for Jaden Russell and Justin Howe at the moment, 5th and 6th. Russell is right on the outside of Howie, and he is doing a good job of keeping that position. There is this drag race down the back straight here, and Jaden Russell is going to hold it for the moment. Justin Howell takes a very late break. He really dives to that position. They just make contact, but a caution is out. That was a real late move, and we've got a caution out for
Michael Schroeder,
I think.
Yeah, Michael Schroeder is the cause for that one. Go back and take a look.
So we'll get this one back, and it looks like Hobson has actually been the cause of that one. So we'll go back and have a look at this one. So we'll see. Hopefully, we'll see. We'll see the aftermath of this one.
We would have there, but everyone's doing things, and it changes the order of the drivers. As they're just getting caught up there.
So yeah, Hobson just waiting. He braked a little bit too late, similar to what we saw Justin Howe and Russell up front. But unfortunately, Schroeder got caught in that one, spun around, and then heavy impact into the wall. And that's going to be the end of Schroeder's night. That truck is a bit of a barbecue right now.
And now we get the train to stop at Wynyard Station. Every carriage full. They're all going to jump in here and get new tyres again. And I highly doubt we'll see anyone stay out. That strategy not really working that well for anyone. So we'll jump through here and see everyone get in. There's a couple of trucks with a fair bit of damage. I did notice on the back of Heddersheed's truck, in fact, that there was a little bit of damage as well. So at some stage he's caught or been caught by someone.
A few love taps out there, a bit of damage here and there, and it all adds up at the end of the night. Obviously, the cleaner the truck, the better it goes, but a few people just getting a little bit of contact here and there, and it's just costing them, it just costs you those little tippets here and there, a couple of attempts here, a couple of attempts there. Heddersheed also got a bit of damage to the right of the truck as well. The front right of the truck has got quite a bit of damage on there, so I think he might have taken a bit of a swipe into the wall or got caught up.
Yeah, remember he did tap that front right into the rear left of Edward Foster as well. So yeah, just bumps and lumps, so to speak.
Yeah, that's it. No, that's what you want on these trucks. They need some battle scars. They don't look good if they're too clean. It just does not look right. They need to have a little bit of a wound to them to be absolutely proper.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the scars that make you look cool.
Absolutely, chick stick scars. It is a well proven fact. Michael Skurlock has remained in the lead of the race. Heddersheed has managed to stay in second with Andrew Dyson in third, Josh Micklemore in fourth, Justin Howe in fifth, Edward Foster sixth, Ryan Jones seventh, eighth is Stephen Williams, Aidan Schultz ninth, and Lachlan Urquio in 10th at the moment. Biggest gainer as it stands is Ruben Phelps in 11th, 24 positions gained. Another fantastic drive from Ruben Phelps.
And Andrew Dyson there getting the jump in pit lane, moving up into third through that pit process. So he is now back in with this lead pack and ahead of Josh Micklemore, whose place he took.
Yeah, very much so. A big loser from that was Jaden Russell. He's dropped down to 17th position. We saw as we were watching, actually, him and Justin Howe get caught up with each other, and I thought that was going to bring out the caution. Unluckily, fortunately, I guess, the caution has just came out when those two made contact, so the caution did come out, but for a different reason. He chose to get some repairs done to that truck. He's got a bit of a straighter front end on the truck there. Sorry, I forgot how to speak English there for a few moments. So that truck is a little bit more patched up and will help him with a little bit of cooling and things like that, because of course when you get damage to the front of these vehicles, you've got all your radiators sitting there, and you do need cooling in a truck. In any car you need cooling. It tends to help you out and tends to make the vehicle last a bit longer than a couple of laps.
Yeah, and of course they're so dependent on the ducting systems and things like that that are built into them to force all of that air through the radiator, and if it's damaged, it can clearly result in a lack of efficiency of that system. So can end up with the carts, the trucks. What's going on here? They basically stopped.
Scarlett just getting a bit of an idea of how the restart process works. He just wanted to make sure everybody was awake there, I think. But yeah, these vehicles are so dependent, and it is a very small cooling duct as well. It's not that whole front end of the truck. Most of that is just stickers. Skurlock just absolutely nailing the start there. He was not waiting for anybody. He has absolutely jumped away at the lead there, and Andrew Dyson, really good jump on the inside of header sheet there. It's going to be into the corner. They're going to go free wide. They're going to try. Just Josh Micklemore just trying to make it free wide. Could not make the gap work for himself. There is a couple of free wide moments down a bit further in the pack. We're going to look up the front at the moment. The cars are all over the place at the moment, as they are. Multiple trucks, multiple wide at the moment down the back straight. Oh,
looked like that might have been Luke Trahere who got sideways, and that caught Ruben Phelps up. In fact, it may have even been Aidan Schultz. He just got sideways there. Managed to catch it, but Phelps had to take evasive action.
Yeah, big moment as the 52 went sideways and then got a big crunch.
Oh, it's Trahere here. He's gone. Sorry to cut you off. Trahere's gone. And the 58 there, he's been in it all night, and I can't believe I've forgotten his name. Oh, Trahere's been up in the air. His night is over. That truck is toast. Hamish Cleland unfortunately got caught up in that one, and we are back for another caution period here. So cautions breed cautions, and tonight no different.
Third caution of the night after 51 laps. Not too bad in all honesty, considering the size of the track and the field, but we saw here a big accident, unfortunately. I'm going to go back and actually have a bit of a look at that in a bit closer detail to work out exactly what happened. But it looks like maybe Justin Witcher just got underneath Luke Trahere. Trahere just had a moment of that truck getting a little bit loose. He caught Justin Witcher, and then all heck broke loose as they went round. Trahere going around and getting flipped multiple times, and then it just went absolutely mad behind him.
Tell you what, Wilton was lucky to get through there. He split the lane between the 58 and the 43, and just as the 43 was flipping through the air, he just managed to get underneath it there. So not an ideal end. Graphics model there, very interesting. The 43 on a trampoline of some sort.
Yeah, he's definitely getting some serious air right there, and in true Tony Hawk Pro Skater style, he has earned himself a nice load of points for that trick, but unfortunately points don't win races. So he's got the style points, but he hasn't quite got the race victory.
Grabbed all the letters and spelt skate, you reckon?
Indeed, he may have even got a secret tape for that one. Who knows what happened there? But yeah, big moment. That was a big accident. That's going to catch out a lot of drivers. But what I was talking about just before was a little bit before that accident. I think that unsettled him a little bit is Aaron Dillon and Trahere got caught up as there was that little bit. Sorry, Dillon and Phelps got caught up as Trahere got loose in front of them, and sort of almost bred a big caution there as there was a big checkup, and I think that might have been a sort of initial starting point of that big crash. Is sort of the checkup from there then caused a couple of cars to be unsettled, and then finally for that big accident to happen between Witcher and Traher. So we are under caution once more. Michael Skurlock is in the front of the pack where we usually see Mr. Skurlock. It's not an unusual place to spot the cranky sports car with Skurly Whirly behind the wheel. He has got Daniel Hedersheed, one of the newer comers to the series, in second, but a regular face up in the top 5 this season, doing a fantastic job in his debut season in ANZCAR. Andrew Dyson currently sits in 3rd position with Josh Micklemore in 4th. Another strong night for Dyson, and of course, as you expect from Josh Micklemore, strong night, doing a great job of keeping that car up there in a relatively clean position. And Justin Howe sitting in 5th at the moment with the lads racing car, doing another stellar job of having some good pace in the car, and he's just going to want for a good finish for tonight. Some relative consistency is what he needs for this race. Meanwhile, Ryan Jones is in 6th with the 1111, Foster in 7th. Stephen Williams is still up there in the top 10 with the all-black Jack liveried DPR car. Lachlan Urquio up there in 9th, recovering from his knee injury. So good to see Lockie's knee is not holding him up too much. And Jaden Russell doing a good job of recovering up to P10. Yeah, so they're going to start forming up side by side shortly.
Absolutely. I forgot about that with Lachlan back after that knee injury. So doing a good job. He's jumped straight back into it as well. He's been racing most nights. We did see him in the Cup and the Xfinity Series as well last week. So good to see him back on the grid. As you say, it will be Skurlock who's going to get away. He's led most of the race so far. And got a cracking start cracking restart last time. We'll see if he does the same thing again here. He dropped the hammer as soon as he could, basically. Put a number of drivers unaware. Andrew Dyson a benefactor there as well. Not quite able to hold the position though. Had a sheet getting back under him when he broke a little loose. So we'll see how this one plays out. We're going to be on lap 55 of 115 here tonight.
Yeah, so 61 laps remaining of this race. Still lots of action to come. We've had a cracking race so far, lots of green flag racing, and fortunately not too many incidents. We're just hoping that we don't get breeding cautions here tonight, because as is often the case when you get these restarts, it can catch a few people out. But the pace truck has come in. Skurlock once again launches the car off of turn number 4 and gets a good restart there, absolutely hammering it away down the straight.
Almost criminal how quickly he gets away there. Fantastic job from Skurlock. No surprises there. Dyson again went with him back down the inside of Hedersheed, but Hedersheed gets a little bit more grip on these restarts on the corners. Just the way he's getting in there must be the benefit of the line, and he pulls back in front there of Andrew Dyson, takes back 2nd place. Down the inside here, Ryan Jones going absolutely ballistic down the inside lane there, just managing to pull that up on the inside of Justin Howe, but he is going to get that position. He's going with Josh Micklemore, who's also... Howe almost gets into him. He's got in the wall, and there he goes.
Big crash there between Howe and Ryan Jones, unfortunately. Howe just getting caught there. Just got a little bit of side draft almost. So almost he got like a buffering from Ryan Jones, maybe just brought the car off guard, up into the wall he goes, catches Jones, spins him around, and then a huge crash up front. Stephen Williams doing a great job of just about avoiding that, but a lot of cars are caught up in that accident, including one of the Crank Esport cars. I think that might be Aiden Schultz.
Yeah, I tell you, he was lucky, and he'll be going out and buying a lotto ticket tomorrow. As Edward Foster, all that unfolded right in front of him, and Howe clipped the wall and then just got down into Jones, and there's nothing Jones could do about it. He's just a passenger at that point in time. Aiden Schultz the same. Looks like Wilton got through, perhaps, with a netcode glitch maybe, but there'll be damage to that car as well. But Ryan Jones also the innocent party there. And his night is over in the 111.
Yeah, really unfortunate there. It was a fast and furious restart for Jones, but it did not pay off in the end. Justin Howe, as I said, looks like he just got caught a bit by the side draft, just bouncing up into the wall. Just didn't expect the dirty air just to affect him that much, and it's just bounced him up into the wall, and big accident there. But his car has remained relatively crumpled, but not too badly wrecked by the looks of things. Somebody else that got caught up in that one, unfortunately, was Ruben Phelps. I believe he got really badly damaged in that accident, I think. So it's his night over and done with after that very good charge up the field. So it's a shame to see Ruben out this early. We've seen some great drives from him, gaining a lot of positions. But as is motor racing, sometimes luck is with you, sometimes luck is against you.
That 78 of Justin Howe's car reminds me of Days of Thunder there, Carl. I'm pretty sure that when he gets into pit lane, they might just put a boot into the only panel that's left on that thing that's straight, because that is one beaten up truck, and he's jumped into pit lane. Looks more like something that's been part of a Destruction Derby event, and he'll be in there for a little while, I reckon, trying to get repairs done.
Yeah, I think the only clean panel on that truck at the moment is the roof, so you know it's been an interesting night when that happens. But as I saying just before that restart, he's been looking just to try and get a bit more consistency, and unfortunately that little bit of side draft caught him right up, and that caught him out, and a lot of other drivers as well, which is also a big shame, because as you say, it's not fun to be caught up in somebody else's accident.
No, and you know who we haven't spoken about tonight as well, as I see him down there, is old Mr. Sheen, Matty Raymond. He's up 22 positions now. Nathan Rawlock up 23, his teammate right behind him. And he's done a ripping job so far. Looks like that truck is in dealership condition, so that's fantastic, and not to be unexpected from old Matty Ray there.
Well, there's a few specks of rubber on it, so it needs a bit of a clean. I mean, I expect better from Matty Raymond.
Nothing that won't wipe off, not with old Mr. Sheen there. So, and you would have done some of that back in the day, Carl, rubbing Mr. Sheen on the race car.
Oh, look, I spent many hours doing that, and on many impressive race cars as well. But I won't get into that, otherwise I will be called out by a few people. But some stories I can tell.
We might just quickly grab Aidan Schultz up. Aidan was down in the infield care centre there, just getting some attention from the lovely nurse down there. We're not quite sure what her name is, but she looks after all the race drivers very well after they have some big shots. Aidan, a very disappointing way to end your night, mate. Just a passenger, unfortunately, in an unfortunate racing incident.
Yeah, very unfortunate, Stuart and Carl. But her name's Patricia, by the way. She looked after me well. Gave me a but no, unfortunate incident. We didn't qualify too well in the 52 Crank Esports truck, but we were moving up slowly into the top 10 there, and we felt really good. And again, it's, I don't know whether it's those cats, as Carl says, but just an unfortunate incident.
Yeah, it was just we think a little pocket of air there, just catching out. My mind has gone blank. Justin Howe, just catching him out there and just pushing him down, and Ryan Jones is just an unfortunate sequence of events, but very much an innocent bystander in it, mate. And as we're about to go, Graham, we'll let you go, and better luck in next week's race.
Guys, have a great call. Thanks for calling me up.
No dramas. The Michael Skurlock there dropping the hammer again really well here. We've gone 3 wide down into turn 1. Daniel Heddersheed, Andrew Dyson, Josh Micklemore all fighting over the scraps that are left behind from Skurlock, dropping the hammer very well again.
We've got an incident a little bit further down the field. Mick Taylor involved in that one, as well as Ben Vickers. A few cars in there. Ben Vickers, Mick Taylor, and the 550, I think, of Tristan Cox involved in that one. Jason Martin just sneaking his way through that incident, I think, unscathed, but that's left a few cars stranded there.
Just bring a replay up on that one when I can, when all this stuff stops shuffling, as always, as it does, but we'll bring that up in a second. And again, very much a case of cautions breeding cautions. So we'll have a look here.
So you see they're just in front, just catches the back of the 77, spins him round, gets spun down, and then the Tristan Cox has nowhere to go. And those trucks are going very sideways, very quickly, unfortunately. A very slow speed incident. One of those sort of incidents that you go, probably, that really wasn't doesn't seem that spectacular, but it's very easy to lose one of these vehicles. They're very light on the rear, and when they start spinning, there's not much you can do. A few drivers jumping into pit lane. Andrew Dyson and Lachlan Urquio coming in, so they're taking advantage of this little spree of cautions, as well as Justin Witcher and other drivers as well. Ryan Wooden as well in there as well. One of the newer drivers to the ANZCAR series with that very cool livery on the Brewery Racing 80 Brewery Racing car there. I think he might unfortunately have the wrong number up, so he might. No, he's got the right number up on that, sorry. Just the wrong one I was looking at, the 195 there. Yeah, a few drivers calling in pit lane.
While we're doing that, we might grab Ruben Phelps up. He's also jumped into the infield care centre there. Ruben, welcome into the booth, mate. Sorry to drag you up there impromptu. If you're having a chat with Aidan there, mate, a cracking race from you as always. You're up, I think Carl was at 23 positions at the time?
23, 24 positions, I think. Yeah, it was looking like a relatively good run up there, but unfortunately getting caught up in that incident.
The first one there, I think Aidan, the first one before all this, before I got wrecked out on that crash there, I was avoided Aidan from his half spin, and then some lunatic decides to not brake and push me into it. But no, it was, other than that last crash there, I just had nowhere else to go, and the whole track got blocked. There was a gap, and then suddenly at the last minute, as how I usually end up, is at the very last minute, the car ends up in front of me and I get involved in the wreck.
Yeah, we're saying that it was an unfortunate a racing incident there, but so many drivers got caught out by it, by exactly what you're saying. The track got blocked there and nowhere to go, and there's nothing you can do when you can't see through the new smoke model. You've got nowhere really to go.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I thought maybe Ryan would maybe have stayed right there, but his back end started to roll right towards the wall where I was heading, and of course by that point you have nowhere.
No, unfortunate, Ruben. We very much enjoy following your moves through the field, and one of our favourites here in the booth, mate. So better luck for next week.
I was looking very strong. I mean, I didn't even come in this race without any practice, and I was shifting in the corners, which has given me a huge drive offs, and hence how I managed to get a lot of passing moves done. So I got to myself in the position I thought it would have been really good, but unfortunately it didn't happen.
No, absolutely, mate. Well, there is always next week, fortunately, and the repair bills here are extremely small. So we'll see you back out there again for the truck series next week.
Hopefully I get some better luck in this truck series, because I've had a bad one.
Absolutely, you and Aidan will be able to swap battle stories there, mate, because he's the current captain of the Black Cat, so definitely have a chat with him. Come on
to me on the truck series, definitely.
We have to thank him for it. Thanks for joining us, Ruben.
Yeah, definitely need to get some four-leaf clovers on a few of those cars tonight, and give them a bit of help.
I think that's one thing we should do, Carl. We'll introduce the four-leaf clover, I think, as a weekly thing. We'll award to the driver with the most luck, just to spice it up a little bit.
Oh, we need to steal Skirley's four-leaf clover, I think. He's got one, I think
that's permanently tattooed, isn't it?
Attached. Yeah, attached or tattooed. Or hidden somewhere. But it is always on his person as the pace truck is coming in. Skirlock is going to lead away. Header sheet on the outside. Mickelmore just behind them with Jaden Russell up there in the top four as well. Good recovery from Jaden Russell. When Skirley going to drop the loud pedal? He does it a little bit later than before. Catches a couple of people napping. Josh Mickelmore particularly. Daniel Heddership just manages to get away well, though. He's going to keep up ahead of Mickelmore at the moment. Will he be able to keep it into the corner? Oh, it's going to be close, but they are going to go too wide in the background. You can see Jaden Russell trying to make the move there. He's going to try and get up on Mickelmore as well, as a few cars do venture free wide. Now, ones to watch out for right now is going to be Lachlan Urquio and Andrew Dyson. They are on fresh tyres, so they are going to have a little bit of a fresh tyre advantage early in this stint. Christopher Finlay as well has got some fresher tyres than some of the guys around him. So there are a few people on some different strategies right now, so it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. If we get a long green here, they could definitely be ones to watch out for.
Yeah, just jumping back here, Kate Donnelly. We've got James Robbie, Dwayne Paris also under duress, shall we say. Aaron Wilson just jumping in the background there, and Dyson, as you say, look at him go now down the inside here. He'll get these moves done pretty quickly. He'll be back up at the front, and these guys at the front will be under pressure. Dyson now on tyres that are about 17 laps to the good. Oh no, there he goes.
Incident.
Oh,
There's
no.
a big incident there. It gets worse as it goes on. Huge incident. It was Kay Donnelly and
James Robbie.
there. Looks like Kay Donnelly and James Robbie just got a little bit of caught together. James Robbie just got into the wall, I think, and then I think that was Andrew Dyson that went into the side of him on those fresh tyres. So I'm sorry, Andrew. I put the knackers on you with that one, and yeah, the curse of the commentator strikes once more.
And that's where that jumping in can pay off for you, but on this tight track, it's just ended up as a disaster for Dyson. Not good to see at all, just in another innocent bystander, as that Pace Syndicate truck of James Robbie's is absolutely done.
Yeah, that is the end for that truck. A few vehicles caught out, a lot of heavy damage down there. Driver that got very lucky there again was Lachlan Urquio. He managed to just about avoid that one. He was one of those drivers that came in on that sort of counter strategy, and unlike Andrew Dyson, he survived that incident. So he got lucky with that one. Some luck has come his way, thankfully. But that was a big accident there, and that could have been a lot worse, but it has taken out a good amount of vehicles. Currently, we've got a fair few trucks on the lead lap still. About 20 odd trucks on the lead lap, but there are a lot that are going to be dropping off that soon as they are being towed behind the wall in pit lane. We've lost almost everybody. We've lost around about 10 or 11 cars now in this race.
Yeah, there's 29 drivers still going at the moment, but I think that number might change in a minute or two. James Robbie's making his way back around the pit lane, but that thing will be toast. They will put that away, and there may be a couple others who join him. So the alternate strategy there not quite working out, unfortunately, as well as we said for Andrew Dyson, and there will be some changes at the top of the table, one might feel tonight, but certainly qualifying here, we said how important it was going to be, and it's proving that way. And the guys here in the top sort of 17 cars currently running mainly damage free, and they'll be thankful for that so far, managing to avoid all of the carnage that has happened behind them. Speaking of avoiding carnage, AJ Insurance Services can help you do just that. They can't help you avoid the carnage, but they can certainly help you on the other side of it with getting things resolved. So if you are in the market for some insurance, whether it be commercial or personal insurance, the team, Joe Daly and the team there at AJ Insurance Services, are the ones we recommend to contact. And once again, we thank them very much for their support of our stream.
Yeah, they can't help you avoid the carnage, but they can make it a lot less painful if the carnage comes for you.
Absolutely.
One driver I just want to do a big shout out to is Jaden Russell. He's done a fantastic job of recovering. We saw him lose a lot of positions in pit lane earlier on, getting some repairs done due to an earlier incident. I can't even recall who that was. But he did a good job of getting that car back up into the positions. He dropped down to the around about sort of P15, P20 area, and he's worked his way back up into third. So Jaden Russell, another strong performer tonight. Couple of other drivers to keep on the lookout for as well. Matty Raymond, of course, up there in P11, 25 positions gained. Nathan Rollock, 28 positions gained in 10th for two teammates there, having a very strong run up at the top of the field. So got some really interesting little cars to look out for, and this race is far from done. We still have 45 laps remaining as they cross the line at this time round, so 70 laps done of 150. We've got a fair amount of time to go, and this race is anything but done.
Absolutely. So I'm not sure again where we go with this one. other than to say that the drivers at the front, not all that surprising, and there's a few out who we would have thought would have probably made it a bit higher, but this is always going to be a difficult race. Congestion on the track with such a large field as well. So all I can say is I'm not too disappointed that I'm not one of the stewards for the meeting, albeit a lot of them have been single car accidents that have caused pile-ups. So we'll see what comes out of it. Probably not a lot.
That's one of the useful things. Danny G will be looking over the race results of the ANZCAR board once this is all over, no doubt, and then getting the help of his fellow stewards, Foster and Hunter, of course, if he needs to. But it can be a painful job sometimes, but luckily it's usually not too bad. Big thank you as well to everybody for joining us here tonight. You are always welcome and always make it a lot easier as Michael Skurlock gets another stonking start. He is not waiting for anybody tonight and is absolutely launching it off the line. You just got to be a bit careful behind there because you've got to be careful of lane changes and just basically jumping positions at the moment. Those are going to be the things to watch out for a little bit further back the field with those starts that Skurlock's having. It's very easy to get done for a lane change incident or passing the car before the green, and yeah, people have got to be careful of that with those really, really fast restarts from Skurly.
Absolutely. Jaden Russell just flashing away a little bit there, but he's right up on the back of Josh Mickelmore, and they are pressing hard. Kay Donnelly's jumped into pit lane, which is an interesting move. Must have had to serve, I imagine, something, and waited for the lane to open, but he is in pit lane now. As we get... Oh, Skurly gets a little bit loose there. Just wagging the tail at Daniel Heddersheed behind him, and the Mitch Motorsport 31. Josh Mickelmore all over the back of the Bombardier for 035 entry. Got to find out the story behind that one. I can't keep but thinking of Catch 22 when I look at it. But that's just me. Don't worry about that. Number 28, Jaden Russell, still trying to close in on this battle. And go on.
Car up in the top 10, Aaron Wilton has done a big climb up the order. He's just getting passed at the moment by, well, Lachlan Oakley is just trying to get past him. Luckily, Wilton has got a very camouflaged car because it hides a lot of the damage on that vehicle. Not much of a car left on them, on that one. But the battle is all over the place at the moment. We've got some great battles through the field. Up front, Jaden Russell and Josh Mickelmore are at it again. Daniel Heddersheed now as well. Mickelmore down underneath Heddersheed, trying to get that move done. They're going to be neck and neck as they go down the straight. Micklemore's going to have that inside line. Heddersheed's just going to hold that outside line. Hopefully gets better. Take the bit of advantage here and try and get in front of Mickelmore. He gets a good launch off the corner, but not enough just as yet. It's going to be very close as they come into the final corner. Mickelmore just slots in behind him for the moment. Good little fight there at the front.
Now we've got an answer in the chat there. Dave Douglas not actually choosing not to pit, just not able to get into his pit box. Was apparently or down into pit lane was the reason why he didn't jump into the pit stops on that very first caution. So that explains it. Wasn't strategy at all, it was prevention more than anything else.
As Josh Mickelmore finally makes that move stick on Heddersheed and gets P2. Mickelmore doing a good, strong race at the moment, but Heddersheed has not given up yet. Jaden Russell is just behind him and sitting a little bit further back is the pole sitter Foster. He's keeping on the back of these guys, keeping them honest as they sit. Michael Skurlock has checked out a little bit at the front. He's got about a second lead over this battle pack.
This one just keeping an eye on it here. As you say, Foster just jogging on the spot behind him, a little bit further back. And we've got things sort of just sorting themselves out. There's a few packs developing, but nothing too major other than this one here. So just see, I think that's Norm Clark up in the top line there, just trying to get out of the way. The 77 Juice Digital car looks like it's certainly been through the blender. That back corner there makes it look more like a Prius than a truck. But they're doing a good job. Brent Hobbs and Ben Vickers just finding out here for 13th and 14th. Not quite able to keep on him then. Just dropped out a little bit there, Brent Hobbs. But as we skip one further back, Mick Taylor and Christopher Finlay, they're fighting down here. This is for positions 17 and 18. And in fact, that is actually Alex McKellar trying to unlap himself. So a mixed field now with all the damage and pit stops having been taken.
We have, but I'm just going to bring our attention just a little bit further up the pack, up to Dwayne Priest. He's got a fast-charging Lockie Urquio behind him. Lachlan is right on the back of him at the moment with those fresher, slightly fresher tyres on Lachlan's car still. Himself and Justin Witcher on the same strategy at the moment, but Witcher has a little bit more damage on that car, I think, than Lockie. But Dwayne Priest has got to keep those two fast-charging vehicles off him. Dwayne Priest has just chosen to get on that lower line, but those fresher tyres are going to help on that slightly outer line. Priest just tags that curb a little bit, loses a little bit of speed, and this is going to give Urquio the chance to get past him down the start-finish straight. The 42 getting past the 777 and getting into the corner. Will Witcher try for a late braking move? He does in the number 10, the famous number 10, of course. He manages to try and get underneath wily old Dwayne Priest, but doesn't quite make it there. Priest managing to hold the position for now, but Lachlan Urquio is on an absolute charger at the moment.
And of course, Dwayne Priest, my apologies, Justin Witcher did suffer for that lack of pit stops at that first caution, so he's making his way back up through the field now, up into 9th, and doing a good job at it as well. We're almost in that zone now, Carl, where the guys will make it on one stop. If there is a caution, expect them all through to run to the end. And obviously the next question is, if there's another caution, what do they do? Track temperatures here haven't really abated at all. In fact, haven't dropped 1 degree during this race, so it's a long way to go. In fact, it'll be the longest caution-free period we've had of the race if they were to run from here to the end.
It will be, as Dwayne Priest and Witcher are side by side once more. Witcher in the number 10, taking great advantage of that number 10 car and getting the move done. Will he manage to stick it on Priest? He does indeed, and gets up past him, and he's going to want to try and start hunting down that gap to Urquio as well, as Urquio has managed to start catching on Williams. So he's got a bit of a gap to make up to Stevie Dubb, who is, as always, having a good run up there in P6. Often the case for Mr. Consistent Stevie Dubb, doing a good job out there. Up the front, Josh Micklemore is slowly starting to creep up to the back of Skirly Skurlock and trying to catch onto the back of him so he doesn't run away with this race. It's a little bit more stabilised at the front though, between Hedesheed, Russell, Foster and Williams. Those guys have sort of got a nice little gap out to each other at the moment, and doing a good job of keeping pace with each other and keeping positions.
There's one thing I hadn't noticed as well, Carl, when we were just talking about it before. Lockie Urquio and Justin Witcher are much fresher tyres than those in front of them. We're looking at, what are we there, 21 laps to the good, so that's a significant difference given the heat, even with the pace car being involved for a majority of that period. So they are currently lapping faster than those in front of them as well, so expect to see them potentially close up the gap to Stephen Williams in the next 5 or so laps if we stay green.
Yeah, right up the front, the battle is heating up between Skirly and Micklemore. Those two are getting very close to each other, as there is a very smoky car in the pit lane. I just noticed. I think there's somebody having a bit of a barbecue in there. At the moment, there is a lot of smoke coming out of one of the trucks, but this battle for P1 is not over for sure. It is definitely something to look out for. As who was that in the background? I think that might have been Gary Wellman, just having a big moment. That car is crabbing something seriously. I think he's finally coming into pit lane and retiring that car, because it no longer wants to move in a straight line. It's only going sideways.
You have chat in the
as we've got a move for P number 4. Foster trying to make a move on Jaden Russell. Foster has got the back end stepping out on Russell at the moment. Doesn't quite make it work this time round, but he's starting to apply the screws to Jaden Russell. Foster starting to turn up the heat here as we're coming down to 29 laps remaining. I think people are starting to want to make their moves towards the end of this race, starting to work out where they want to be for the finish of this one.
And Foster's managed his race pretty well here tonight, all bar that small incident at the start with Daniel Heddershee just doing a bit of Morse code on the back of the Natari Autosports entry. He's managed pretty well so far, so he's in a good position to run this one home.
He is doing a good job. There is an absolute mental battle a little bit further down with Aaron Wilton. He is right next to Maddie Raymond at the moment. Maddie Raymond is fighting off about 17 different cars as it stands. He is right in the middle of a battle pack, and it's just started to settle down a little bit, but saying that, it's still pretty mental with those guys. Maddie Raymond getting back underneath the very battered car of Aaron Wilton at the moment, and he has got Kay Donnelly just behind him with Ben Vickers up there as well. So that battle is very much heating up, and I think that was one of them going into the back of Ben Vickers. I think there was some contact there, but I'm not too sure. It was very close to it anyway. But it's a really, really messy little pack going on there. Some serious fighting.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're just a little bit of different fuzz. I think that might be Kate Donnelly there, just down on the inside with a truck that's dropping oil all over the track. I'm not sure what he's doing down there, but
it's going to bring out a caution. I think that engine has just gone poppity pop, unfortunately. So it's just, I think his engine just blew. Just completely blew there, and yeah, it just blew, and he didn't get it down quick enough. He's basically tried to get it on the inside and then lost it and had to get a tow quickly to try and stop the caution, but where he stopped was not ideal.
He's just down on the grass on the inside there. Just want to see if he
got away with it. Very nearly collected Aaron Dillon, I think that was. So very close there, but this is going to really throw a spanner in some people's soup, I'm going to say.
That's not ideal at all. So I'm sure they'll have a look at that in terms of what not to do. But anyway, it is what it is, and we move on with a caution here.
And we are going to get a absolute plethora of cars coming into pit lane. The people this hurts is people like Lachlan Arquio, who was having a good catch up to the back. It was very close to working out if that had remained green for Lockie. That was looking like a good strategy for him, but he's got to basically go through all of that, restart again. But he has managed to make up some good positions. He's up there in P6 at the moment. Just has to make this pit stop work for him. It's going to help out everybody up there, though, that was on those older tyres. They're going to have some nice, fresh, sticky tyres to slap on the cars and get a good run for it. Speaking of good runs, sticking out there at the moment is Ryan Wooden out there in the Brewery racing car, and he's just taken the lead, so he's going to get a lap led. Pretty cool little livery on that car, actually.
Trying to work out who's that behind him. It is Christopher Finlay behind him, isn't it? No, it's not.
He has got Christopher Finlay behind him on track. For position, Christopher Finlay is up there in position.
It's the 6 of
it's Nathan Clark.
I'm gonna have a look at one of the stickers on the on the back of Ryan Wooden's car. There, I think he's been a little bit creative with the English language there. I'm pretty sure it says Fork and New on the back of that truck. We'll just get Nathan Clark here to close up a little bit if he can. He's not going to play cricket with us. He's just going to go out for a duck and not help us out. But that's okay. I'm pretty sure that's what it said. So that's some good creative use of the English language there.
Fork and Q beef jerky.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yep. Of course it's beef jerky.
It's French. A little bit of French.
Right.
It's not French. Q, of course.
Clark and you.
Yeah,
of course.
Exactly. Parle français, oui. He's going to stick it out there and see what he can do on those old tyres. I think just try and roll the dice a little bit and see what he gains. We've seen it hasn't really worked out too well. We saw Dave Douglas and Justin Witcher not working out for them. Dave Douglas tossing Justin Witcher a coin, and it did not end up working out for him. A valley of plenty opened up between him and the rest of the field, and he lost many positions.
Yes, no, not ideal. We'll see what happens here. Tell you what, we want another caution. It's our 5th of the night after such a strong start to the race, and we've lost just about half the field. So, see how we get out of here. Not a great idea, I don't think, by any stretch for Ryan, but maybe he knows something we don't know. We'll see as the 195 will lead us away. One thing that we know...
If we get a spat of cautions right now, it could be a really good strategy. I mean, if we get about 6 more cautions, this could win him the race. But I don't think so. It's going to be very tricky. It's going to be very tricky from here, in all honesty, for that car of Ryan Wooden out there in the lead. He's just got to make sure he gets the power down nice and evenly and does not spin it up too much, because if you spin up down the front straight here as the leader, it can get very, very dicey very, very quickly. That 195 has got to be very careful on this restart.
To be fair here, I think the biggest loser is going to be Josh Micklemore. I think Skirley will just gradually put the right foot down here and just drive off into the sunset with Daniel Heddersheed right behind him. So we'll see how the restart goes. He's going to be really careful. Ryan Wooden, 61. His tyres are stuffed. It's lap 90 when everyone else is pitted, and I think he's going to very much struggle here on the restart.
Yeah, he's got... On my strategy guide, he's done 31 laps on these tyres. I think it's just going to be a bit of a careful restart here. The pace truck lights will be going off relatively shortly, so we'll soon find out that one. So we'll see how that one goes.
Well, we just got an extra lap there. I thought the lights were out, but be that as it may, it's certainly out now, so this will be the last lap behind the pace car. But,
just wondering if somebody had a mechanical failure or something on that lap, because I thought we were going green and then all of a sudden we ended up not going green, so I wonder if we got an extra lap of pace truck because something happened there. So this is all going to help Ryan Wooden out a little bit, and this is exactly what he needs.
Yes, apparently someone was out of position, which is why we've got another caution lap to go.
I'm sure if it remains this way, I'm smiling. But I'm sure he does not want to win that way, of course. Nobody likes to win on technicalities. They like to have a good race and get a victory in the best way you can. Pace truck is coming in this time. It peels in. Ryan Wooden's going to be the leader for the first car time in the ANZCAR series. Gets a good drop over the guys behind him and does get a good launch, actually. Manages to get those rear tyres working as they've cooled down a little bit. Skurlock can't quite make it past him. Skurlock getting a little bit loose into the corner. This is where those fresh tyres are going to pay off. You can see Wooden's rear end just stepping out a little bit. Skurlock has got the high line. He's going to get it up through there. Josh Micklemore makes the position as well as Heddersheed. You can see Wooden just dropping down and then letting those cars pass. He's not going to put up too much of a fight because there's not much point in that. You're just going to cost yourself positions and possibly a wrecked truck as well.
Unfortunately so the lead is Skurlock now from Micklemore. We've got Heddersheed, Foster, Williams, Urquio, Ryan Wooden and Ben Vickers, Dwayne Priest, Nathan Rollock rounding out our top 10 so far. Matty Raymond's making a push through. He's got past, who's battling with Aaron Wilton in that very beaten up camouflage truck that we're struggling to see, and in fact Wooden now moving right down into this battle here as well. The 77 of Ben Vickers moves up another position along with Dwayne Priest, so these still fighting for position. The 85 of Nathan Rollock, I should say, going through as well, so he's down the inside now. All these guys on fresh rubber, so this is all battling for position. Mr. Sheen, Matty Raymond goes through with him just behind him, and he's moved up in front of Aaron Wooten as well.
And it's given a nice little bit of a gap from Lachlan Urquio down to Dwayne Priest. So there's been a nice little gap made from that restart to the front guys. So they've got a little bit of breathing room from the rest of the battle pack, but it's not a done deal up the front. You can see Micklemore is really starting to put the pressure on Skurlock. That Mitchell Motorsport car really wants to absolutely punish Skurley at the moment. He's going to try and get the underneath. Skurley can't quite make it work this time round, but he is putting the pressure on. He does not want to see Skurlock Sherlock running away with this one. He wants to make sure it's hard. He's going to try again for the inside line, try for that late braking move. You can see there, Micklemore makes the late braking. They're going to be side by side. They make contact. Micklemore just manages to hold that truck somehow. That was almost a big crash there for Micklemore. Great control skills from Josh there, but can't quite get the traction on soon enough for Daniel Hedesheed to stay behind him. Hedesheed getting up into second.
Yeah, absolutely the benefactor there of the slide. Got to put the move on though. Josh Micklemore, Mitch Motorsport 31 entry. Just trying to get it done. Its benefactor, unfortunately, is Michael Skurlock from Josh's perspective. He would have been hoping to get that done and clear out at the front, but he's now got to fight past Daniel Hedesheed, who's been nice and consistent all night. Edward Foster currently up into 4th position. Steve Williams and Lachlan Urquio 5th and 6th. They're close together, battling away. Priest and Rawlock battling away. So it's closed the pack right up as you'd expect, and we've got a change for position here as well between Brent Hobbs and Ryan Wooden. I think Hobbs will get that done there on the much fresher tyres as well. So Wooden will be hoping for a caution period if he can get one to help him out. You're going to need new tyres on that truck, otherwise he's going to keep dropping position as Tristan Koch is the next in line to make a move on him.
Yeah, he's just hoping to keep in the top 20 now. That's going to be his goal for the night, get a top 20 finish in the series, which was... Oh, and there is a big incident between Ben Vickers and Aaron Wilton. Ben Vickers just could not see that camouflaged car on his inside, thought there was nothing there, and unfortunately there was a car.
Rocky there as the 25 backs out onto the track as well. Is a little bit sketchy, but fortunately no one coming through. That is a midget, that 77. That's had the fair old slapping front and rear. And that is not over, unfortunately, for the Juice Digital 77 entry of Ben Vickers. That one is going to be put behind the wall.
Yeah, it's got a juicy sponsorship, but it does not have any cooling juice in it. Unfortunately, you can see there it just gets loose up on the high line and goes down into Wilton. That beaten up 025 vehicle is getting more and more beaten up as the night goes on. A lot of it for Wilton is just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I think camouflage is not what you want on a racing circuit. You want to make sure people see you, but it has not paid off for him there, and he's got a lot of damage on the front of that car as well. It looks like he might have some damage to the suspension maybe. Can't really see from this position, unfortunately, but yeah, that car is looking very, very beaten up. There is not much car left for him.
So surely... Oh no, he's not. I thought wouldn't have jumped into pit lane. Not doing so this time around. Maybe next time, we'll see. Finlay Martin and Vickers into pit lane as well.
I think Wooden's just decided he's going to stick with this strategy and see how it plays out. Just hope that those tyres plateau and just he can get away with it from here. So he's just going to stick it out there and just suffer a little bit almost. But he has managed to gain 16 positions in this race, so he is up a fair amount of positions. He started 28th, he's up in 12th, and he is on the lead lap, most importantly. So it's not the easiest strategy to play out, but he has made some good positions in his first ANZCAR race in the trucks, and is going to get a relatively good finish out of it as well, just behind Brent Hobbs at the moment, and a little bit of a blinky Jaden Russell as well.
Nathan Rawlett, currently our top mover, now up 30 positions in P8 inside the top 10 clearly, and doing a good job at it.
Yeah, real big jump for Nathan Rawlett. 30 positions is an enormous feat to make. Just his teammate behind him close for that position. Of course, Maddie Raymond there in the ever clean car, looking pretty much spotless other than a few bits of rubber on it. So he's going to have to polish up that car after the race and make sure it is back to pristine, sparkling condition for the next race, of course. But another good job from him and a good run up the field as always. A really good job from both of them actually to manage both of those positions as teammates. They seem to be working together well tonight, which is good news for the rest of the series, because that's what you want to be doing, is getting your teammates in, eye on the ball, just getting everything working. And you know, motorsport is very much a team sport.
We're going to have 11 to go when the caution, well done, when the base truck jumps into the lane, and 11 to go. Who's your tip from here?
Oh, look, I mean, you can't really not bet on Skurlock, can you? He is... He's been doing a great job out there. Of course, Skirly Whirly always doing a great job. The purple cranker himself in that cranky sports car. Just doing a good job out there tonight.
The purple cranker. Yep, absolutely. My goodness me, I'll love you for that one. As the 035 of Daniel Heddersheet, he's had good pace too, so really this restart couldn't be more important. Obviously they've seen Skurlock is dropping the hammer as soon as the truck pulls in. They'll be aware of that. They've got to be careful not to obviously get in front of him, but almost wanting to take the gamble of jumping on it as quickly as they can when this truck pulls in to go with him. Josh Mickelmore had a good restart last time around as well, so keep an eye on him. He's right behind him. So we're about to go green in a few short moments, and hopefully we'll get a good clean run to the end here with 10 to go when we get going again.
Yeah, that's it. And don't forget about the Cup race last time out at Charlotte. We saw contact between Mr. Skurlock and Mr. Mickelmore. Skurlock in himself and Mickelmore having a little bit of contact. So it's there could be a little bit of payback from that. I doubt it very much because those two are both very clean drivers. But we might see them getting close to each other again tonight. Daniel Heddersheet has been quick all night long and is very hungry for that victory. He has had top 5 finishes all season long in the trucks. Been doing a great job and wants to get to that top step, but Skurlock is going to try and stop it from happening. He gets another good restart there, gets away nicely. Mickelmore on the bottom line is going to have a good jump on Heddersheet here into the first corner. Will Mickelmore be able to get that position finally from Heddersheet? He's been trying all night long almost. Those two have been passing each other all throughout the night. Currently it is Heddersheet in front of Mickelmore.
Yeah, Foster got a reasonable jump there as well, as did Steve Williams, so the drivers a little bit more awake to Skurlock's tactics there. Heddersheet just closes up on the back of Michael Skurlock, who's got 11 to go this time around. Going to close that out, and it'll be 10 from here. So can Heddersheet, has he got anything for Skurlock? He's closing in. Mickelmore's gone with him. Foster's dropped off the back a little bit. He's going to have his own battle to deal with Steve Williams. And Lachlan Urquio there closing in on him. Priest and Rolick close as well, a little bit further back. So is Wilton and Hobbs. So as you'd expect, it's going to be battles right the way through to the end of this one. We want it to go green. So let's keep them clean. And it's going to be one of these three.
There's a little bit of contact a little bit further down. Wilton and Brenton Hobbs just making a little bit of contact again. I think Aaron Wilton people aren't able to see him out on track. Unfortunately, that camouflage is working a bit too well at the moment, but they managed to keep the cars going. Brilliant driving throughout the field. There is such close battling. We've only got 8 laps remaining of this race. We want to see this one running green because we've got some serious battles going on out on the track at the moment.
Yeah, firmly fixed at the front here. Skirley, Heddersheet and Mickelmore. Mickelmore's been the bridesmaid a few times this season already. Across the ANZCAR trio of series. He'll be trying to get this one done. As they close back up again on Skurlock. It's not a done deal yet. See no real draft here to any great consequence whatsoever. So all down to how you guys can get out of the corners.
It's all down to how you apply that throttle at the moment, and getting that throttle down is something Skurlock has been doing so well lap after lap. Another driver that's doing another good job of it is Jaden Russell. He's managed to work his way back up the field after dropping a few positions once more. Dwayne Priest up there in 8th for the moment. He's got Nathan Rollick and Matty Raymond just behind him fighting for position. It is hard to look away. We've got 6 laps remaining of this race. Skurlock in the lead over Heddersheet at the moment. Heddersheet is trying all he can to get up there. Foster, the pole sitter as well, sitting there in 4th at the moment. I think he's not pushing too hard. He's thinking more about the long game, that championship position at the moment, but he's definitely putting on the pressure.
Yeah, he's still got time to get there. Maybe Mickelmore burning the tyres a little more on the restart. And it's just allowed Ed to close up here. He's just 2 tenths behind now. So this is closed right up at the front here. Oh, as Ed runs a little wide. And the battle at the front narrows. 6 to go.
It is so close at the moment, and it is just one small mistake away from losing you a fair few positions. They are so close at the moment. Skurlock has Hennessy right on the rear of his car, getting a good look at the Virtual Motorsport Mentorship sponsorship on the back of that Crank Esports car at the moment. Daniel Hennessy, he is going to be looking at that all night long and going, frustrating seeing that. I want to be ahead of it, but he is doing a great job of trying at the moment. Josh Micklemore in third is flying around the corner. He wants to get that second place, get his championship moving along as well. He wants to get up there and start fighting for positions. Of course, Foster, he wants to get a good finish, but he's got to start finishing ahead of Hennessy. That's the big importance, because those two are joint leaders at the moment as it stands coming into this race. So with Hennessy an extra spot ahead of Foster at the moment, that's going to help his championship hopes.
Absolutely. Still plenty of the season to go, though. So still got time to get the results in. Hennessy now has got Micklemore right behind him. Got 4 to go.
Yeah, still a long way to go. Championships cannot be won in the first couple of races, but they sure can be lost. That's one of the big things you've got to remember. Up a little bit further back, Dwayne Priest has got a pair of cars, Nathan Rollock and Matty Raymond, right behind him at the moment. They are doing a great job of putting the pressure on, but Brent Hobbs is on their tail as well, so really trying to put the pressure on for the top 10. The top 10 is not secured yet by any means, so there is still a lot of fighting for those positions to go.
It certainly is, as Micklemore closes right up on the back of Hennessy now. He'll be looking to position himself. Foster's gone with him as well. At 25, Wilton's just up in the wall there. Trying to stick out of the way, let these guys run this out with 2 to go.
Yeah, just doing the right thing, getting out the way. Of course, as we say, you don't have to let people pass, but in a position like that you might as well, because you're just going to cost us a good finish. And doing the right thing there, nice job for him, just keeping well out the way. Skurlock has got a nice little lead over Hennessy at the moment of half a second. Hennessy has got Josh Micklemore all over the back of him, and Foster all over the back of Micklemore at the moment. Those guys are running nose to tail. Stevie Williams is up there in 5th, as the white flag will be coming out this time around for Mr. Michael Skurlock, who's just got to do one more lap of Gateway to get the V next to his name, but it's not a done deal for sure. There is still a lot of momentum, still a lot of track left to go in this race, and there is still a lot of fighting going on for positions, especially down the track. This race has been one spicy one.
Certainly has been. Hennessy here just needing to negotiate these last few moments of this lap, and he will come across the line, but it is going to be Michael Skurlock who's going to take out the win from Daniel Hennessy to Josh Micklemore in 3rd place. A race well run.
And, unfortunately, Nathan Rollock has gone round in the background. Nathan Rollock gone round. He was battling for P8. He's just lost that position, sadly. Dwayne Priest has managed to work his way up there with Matty Raymond.
Rollock there, bringing it home in reverse to still finish in 11th position.
Very close there at the end, but a absolute masterful drive from Michael Skurlock there, getting the victory. A great finish for Hennessy in P2. Another top 5 finish for Daniel Hennessy. 4 top 5 finishes this season in the trucks. Absolute fantastic job he has been doing. A very consistent drive. Micklemore down there in 3rd position. This is going to help his championship season start coming alive. Foster in 4th position. Good run from him. And Lachlan Urquio in 5th place. A really good result for Lachlan Urquio, coming back from a knee injury and getting himself up into P5 in the end, just pipping Stephen Williams, Stevie Dub Series champion from last season, up there in 6th. 7th, we have Jaden Russell. A good, strong performance from Russell, with Dwayne Priest having a fantastic drive up into 8th position, managing to get a nice few positions. But the biggest gainers of the race will be Matty Raymond and Nathan Rollock in the end in 9th and 10th So Matty Raymond gaining 27 positions at the end of that race. Nathan Rollock 28 positions. Ryan Wooden doing a great job, showing that those older tyres paid off towards the end for him. He managed to finish in P11 at the end of that one. So a really good debut race for Ryan Wooden. Tristan Koch in 12th, Christopher Finley 13th, 14th Jason Martin, 15th Mick Taylor, Brent Hobbs 16th, 17th Aaron Wilton, Justin Witcher 18th, 19th Nathan Clark, and Alex John rounding out the top 20.
Well, what a run. That it was really, really good at the end there as well. So we had a nice long run at the front of the race with no caution periods, and then we had a sort of a litany of small incidents followed by a good long run again, and then a couple towards the end there with a solid 11 laps to finish out the race, and Michael Skurlock taking the win there. Always with Daniel Heddershed just nipping at his heels, and Josh Micklemore up 2 spots as well to round out our podium tonight in this round of the ANZCAR Truck Series. So just waiting for the drivers to jump into the booth here. Got a couple of them there, just waiting for Josh Micklemore to make his way in as well before we get them in for an interview. And I've got to say, it's been a very, very impressive start from Daniel Heddershed. Going to have to ask him, Carl, why he isn't running on a Thursday night in the main game. I think is probably the question that we need the answer to. If he can master the trucks, why isn't he running with the big boys in the Cup as well?
I think I know the answer for that one already off the top of my head. It's because he's racing in the Skip Barber series. He's racing Skippies on a Thursday, if I recall. Unfortunately, so other things holding him back for the moment, but we'll see if we can lure him to the Cups, because I want to see Daniel Heddershed more and more in the ANZCAR series, because he's been giving us some fantastic results as we've been going through the season.
The what?
Oh, hello.
Yes, sir, you're in the booth. Michael Skurlock, we've dragged you in, mate, sorry to break up the conversation with your adoring public, but the show must roll on. Josh Micklemore, Daniel Heddershed joining us as well. Our podium tonight here, and we will start with you. Josh, a cracking race for you, mate. Nice and close there, almost able to get the move done on Daniel at the restart, but just not quite enough to get that one closed out.
Yeah, that was one of my problems tonight. Was the restarts? I was a little bit off on the restarts. I don't know what it was, but yeah, it was. I love this track. It's very good fun and get some good close racing. So it was good fun racing with Daniel and Skurlock most of that race. We're all pretty even there, really. So it was good fun.
Probably, I think most surprising factor, certainly for us and no doubt for you guys as drivers as well, was the opening stint without any caution period, running quite long in there with the 52-degree track temp and short tracks made for quite difficult driving towards the end of the first stint.
Tyres for me were pretty good. The long run, I was hoping it was going to continue on and then get the race over and done with green flag runs, because my tyre was quite good. So. But I'm not sure about the other guys. But
I don't know. Didn't feel good. The numbers looked good, but I didn't feel like I was good.
Yeah, I was struggling quite a bit at the end of the stints there.
Yeah, it felt comfortable for me, to be honest with you.
Well, certainly rewarded, as I said, with a move up the field there, so finishing in third position. So, as usual, Matt, just the rundown of the sponsors for you tonight.
Yeah, just Mitch Motorsport Boys, BK Designs, and Skurlock and Daniel in first and second. It's good racing, you fellas. It was nice and clean and pretty hard racing. So, yeah, cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Certainly there, Josh Micklemore finishing in third. Daniel, starting out at the top of the questioning here, mate, with the hard one. When are you going to give up the Skip Barber and come and join us on a Thursday night?
Oh, it's getting close, isn't it? The pace is there, and I'm having a heap of fun in these, so you never know. We'll see what happens next season.
So, good run from you. I think Carl was saying there you've finished in the top 5 every race so far in Season 2, 21. So, obviously something about the trucks just clicking with you?
Yeah, Guess so. It's been good. I've been pretty consistent. Haven't got caught up in any drama yet. Still yet to get that win, but a podium's a podium. I'll take it.
And Bombardier, mate, can you tell us the background behind that one on the truck?
A quick search through Trading Paints and put it on the truck. That's about all there is to it, to be honest.
Beautiful. Every time I see it, I think of the book Catch 22. Someone told me it's got something to do with Boeing, so we'll stick with my...
Skis, mate. Supposed to be sponsored by Bombardier. Sea-Doos, mate.
Oh, really? Oh, well, my story's more exciting, so we'll stick with that. Catch 22, the book there. Save the Bombardier, save the Bombardier. But a good addition to the series here, Daniel, and certainly appreciate you jumping in with the ANZCAR guys. You're running with some of the quick guys that continue week in, week out to perform, mate, and it's good to have you into the series. Just a quick rundown of your sponsors, if you've got any.
Yeah, I'm just the 111 boys, Symfinity, Fully Floored. And that's about it for the sponsors.
Fantastic, mate. Well done on another great race tonight and finishing second in the championship. I believe that will move you clear at the top of the ANZCAR Truck Championship as well, with the gap to Edward Foster there, one place. So back next week to try and extend that lead.
Cheers, guys. And another good race, Skirley and Josh. Be back next week for another round.
Yeah, you too, bro.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, you too.
Skirley, no stranger to the top post, mate. Another good run. The restarts there tonight for you, absolutely blistering. Something that you decided to do just to try and get out of the crap.
Oh yeah, well you never decide, mate. You're lucky if you're in that spot, really. I got lucky early. Edward and Daniel got together, and I just snuck underneath, and then luckily a yellow came out, because at the first run I thought Daniel was going to get me again, because he started catching up again. I started getting panicky and just tightening up and everything, and then yellow came out, and then a fresh run from the start again with new tyres. Normally you can sort of drive it a bit better, maintain the tyres a bit better.
It looked pretty comfortable for you most of the night. Obviously we ended up having those sort of glut of cautions in two batches, but you were able to sort of just establish that 3/4 of a second gap ahead of the guys, and there was a bit of fighting behind you as well, which helped, and the timing of the cautions as well. But you're saying there that you were struggling towards the end of that first stint with the tyres?
Yeah, just because I didn't really know what I should be doing, and then I get caught up in the old big mirror, mate, up in the top there, and you know what I mean? Then I realised, wait a minute, I'm not even looking forwards at all here. I'm just watching him. So, then I have to tell myself just to calm down. But, I like this track. I think last season, me and Josh were reverse roles, and I was right behind him the whole race, so I couldn't get past him.
That's right, yeah.
It's hard to pass here. It's really hard to get it done, because you can go underneath them, but if you can't use that whole track on exit, the guy on the outside always wins. So it's really hard to get the pass finished. But, no, kudos to Daniel. He's making this oval thing look a bit too easy, because he's only just giving it a crack, But I remember racing with him in the V8 supercars as well, and we used to battle in that as well. So, he'd be a good addition to the league, I reckon. Other than that, just lucky when you got the restarts, you can control when everyone goes. And all my boys crashed out, so I was alone in Discord. So I put the broadcast on in the background. And don't ever do that, because I was driving along, and then all of a sudden you're going, oh, and header shield's right up the back there, Skilly. I'm like, what? Is it? And I was just staring back in the mirror again, freaking out again. So, the restarts is what wins it in the end. You can just, I heard you guys going, I think he's going to go early. So I'm like, no, I'm going to go late now, just because you said that.
Well, we were trying to predict it and see what was going on there with a couple of guys on older tyres in and around you guys on the new tyres at the front there. So we're just sort of seeing what might happen. But no, certainly got away real quick on those restarts. Didn't suffer too much for wheel spin or anything, which was good to see. And the guys went with you. So another race for one for you, Skirley. The lucky charm will have to come out and get a kiss, no doubt, at the end of the night. And well, congratulations on another really strong performance in ANZCAR.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Have you posted out those pictures of me yet for everyone to lick before a restart or whatever it was?
Yeah, absolutely. We have. They're in the mail, mate.
I remember watching that, mate. I had a nice laugh at that.
They are in the mail. Well, we figure that the rest of your team's probably got them adorning their desks, mate, or their sim rigs just in the corner there of the old taco, and they look down at you every now and again when they need some inspiration. So we figured we'd share the love amongst the field. Speaking of which, just a shout out to your sponsors, mate.
Yeah, mate. Just Crank, iRace Designs, Virtual Motorsport Mentor, and ANZCAR, and all the guys for racing well. And it was that first run, bit of an anomaly, but at least it happened. It was good, nice 50-odd lap run. And yeah, all these guys coming over. The guys I remember these guys from road racing and Skip Barbers years ago. It's good that they're coming over and having a go, because it won't take them long to get good at it. Trust me. They'll like it. It's an addictive thing, oval racing.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And I think that's a good call as well. We've had plenty of new blood come into the truck series this season. And I think a lot of it's because of the quality of the driving as well. Like that first stint certainly caught Carl and I by surprise. We weren't expecting to see that at all. We're predicting carnage given that we had 39 trucks on the track at the start and the high track temperatures, short track. So well done to all the guys, and also a shout out to the series organisers as well, who do a lot of work behind the scenes to make all of this stuff happen and give us the privilege of broadcasting. But congratulations to our top three tonight: Michael Skurlock, Daniel Heddersheed, and Josh Micklemore taking out the podium tonight.
Thank you, everybody.
Carl.
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic job tonight from those drivers, and said the start just blew us away. What an absolute cracker of a race there, and just cracking on-track action, especially up the front. We saw some brilliant defending and racing as well, which is what we are here to broadcast. And a big thank you to everybody watching tonight as well. Big numbers tonight, which is always nice to see. Lots of people out there and watching the race away and enjoying it, and glad to see it. Here, Scully was enjoying the race broadcast as well, listening in on us as we went through.
It's an interesting thing that he spoke about, actually, that staring in your mirror. It's something that you got to train yourself out of doing. You get into the front and lead away. I'm surprised. I guess it can happen to everyone, even someone as experienced as Skirley at leading races, but you just get caught watching the mirror. And talking about the big mirror, you can set an artificial mirror on the inside of the truck here, and it gives you a pretty good view behind you, but you end up watching it and you notice eventually you start losing a little bit of lap pace or whatever the case might be. And interesting to hear him getting caught a little bit by that one. It can happen to everyone, but yeah, really, really good racing, door to door, right the way throughout the field, and a good broadcast for us tonight. We head across tomorrow night to the Oz-Pro-Am Sim Series, where we are broadcasting the final of Season 3 there. We are headed to Spa for a Enduro 70-minute race there, and that's going to be an absolute cracker. Series still nice and hot there, and anyone could win it. So don't forget to join us tomorrow night from 7:45 for that one. And then Wednesday night, we are back with the Xfinity Series, which I think is from Chicagoland, if memory serves me correctly. And then Thursday night with a Cup from Sonoma. So plenty to go here on FGM Cast for another week with lots of ANZCAR action and the final of the Oz-Pro-Am Sim Series. So looking forward to bringing you that one when we get back here tomorrow night. Carl, as always, thank you very much for your expertise and insight at another track that I knew absolutely bugger all about before we got started tonight. So I appreciate you joining the stream as always, and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow night.
Forward to seeing you tomorrow, and very excited to be calling from Spa, one of my all-time favourite tracks. I think many people say that, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right in your corner there. One of my all-time favourites. So looking forward to that one. I think Carl, Scotty will be with us as well tomorrow night. So we'll have the trio in the booth. And as always, thank you to everyone who joined us. The drivers who unfortunately got taken out or dropped out early on, jumping in the stream and jumping in the chat as well. And other than that, we will see you tomorrow night, 7:45, FGM eCast, your E-Place for Pace. Appreciate you joining us, and we will see you then.